And hello, everyone. Welcome to this Trading Tech Talk. My name is Daniel Sinek, and I am with Trading Indicators. And today we have a very exciting and a very important topic planned. It's trading from beginning to end. Know, find, and plan. 3 very important steps in your trading journey. And as it turns out, they all require a very different skill set. And only if you can master them all, I believe your path towards trading success will be paved. So I'm very grateful, first of all, that you all joined us. We all have busy lives, and I know you guys have busy lives. And taking time out of your day to listen to us, listen to me talk to you is very humbling and also makes us very excited to offer these webinars. This is really our engine, our main motivation of why we do what we do. So thank you guys so much to be part of our trading journey. Now, before we really get started, a quick reminder that trading, no matter which asset class, futures, forex, stocks, options, or other asset classes, they all contain substantial risk and therefore are not suited for every investor. If you trade, make sure to only use risk capital, which is capital that you can actually afford to lose. When it comes to backtest performance, keep in mind that this is not necessarily indicative of future performance, and any trade ideas and trades reviewed in this session should not be construed as trade advice. These are for informational purposes only. If you're joining us for the very first time, let me introduce ourselves. So we are tradingindicators.com, and my name is Daniel. I'm the guy here on the left-hand side. And Trading Indicators is an online shop specializing in creating innovative, trading indicators and trading products in general. And I have created this business together with my sidekick, Homer. So Homer and I, we go back many, many years, more than 20 years by now, if you believe it. And we, back in the day, met in grad school, where we were in the same research lab. She was doing a PhD. I was doing my master's at the time. And ever since, we've been starting businesses together and working on interesting projects. And this is by far, tradingindicators.com is by far the most rewarding one so far. We also have Nicholas. So Nicholas joined our crew about 5 years ago, and he has been the mastermind behind most of our recent trading indicators and trading tools. And one such tool you're going to see today. All right. So, but over the years, we've built hundreds of trading indicators. So we've been in the business for quite some time. And there are a couple of things which we believe are important and what we believe in. So one such thing is technical analysis. So, we believe that fundamentals, even though important, most of the fundamental information, thanks to the efficiencies of today's markets, is already priced in. And by analyzing your price chart, you will indirectly also take into account fundamental information. We also believe that trading should be simple, and trading is simple, but you need to know what to look for. And I hope, especially in the beginning of this presentation, where I'm going to, explain what we consider as important when we look at the market, you're going to see that trading actually can be quite simple. And but you have to understand what to look for and which levels are important and what would be noise. We also believe in teamwork, not only among ourselves, but also with our trading community. So we have a rich and very interactive trading community. It's really a nice back and forth. Most of our indicators actually driven by the feedback that we have received from our members. And this is exactly how it should be. It should not be us trying to invent something. It should be the opposite, that we get feedback from our members, say, why don't you do it this way or that way? Because this would really help me. And this is really the kind of feedback that we need to create our trading indicators. And I believe by doing it this way, we make sure that at the end, with our products and whatever we do, we help you guys out there to make better trading decisions and to become better traders. All right, but enough about ourselves. Let's get into the topic of today. So what's on the agenda? Well, we're going to start by reviewing what I believe and what we believe drives the market. This is going to be a bit, in quotes, theoretical, not too much. Don't worry about it. But I'm going to look at some concepts which are important to understand what drives the market. But then it's going to become practical very fast. We're going to show you an amazing tool that we have created, which will allow you to find promising technical setups within seconds, which is essential because there's so many stocks and symbols that you can trade, but being able to find the good ones that are currently hot and interesting, that's a challenge, because you cannot do it manually most of the time because there's just too many out there. Having a tool at your fingertips can make a difference. And of course, once we have a symbol in mind and we know which setup to trade, long or short, and with some perhaps a target in mind, we need to plan out our trade. And there's so many different options how this could be done. Should we trade this outright, just buying the underlying symbol or selling it, or perhaps do it through an options play? Many different options that we have there. We're going to review this as well. At the end, we do have a special offer for you, so please stick around, and there will be also plenty of time for Q&A. So let's get started. What drives the market? There's one concept that we have seen and witnessed ourselves over and over again, and this is the concept of what we call landmarks. We believe every single chart, be it a minute chart, be it a daily chart, be it a stock chart, be it a futures chart, an FX chart, they all have it. They have what we call landmarks. And landmarks are levels and zones on your price chart, which have an effect on price. And these landmarks, for example, they can be created by all-time highs. They can be created by multiple swing lows or swing highs, and they seem to have certain properties. And sometimes you even witness, hey, these landmarks, these zones, they almost have magnetic properties, which is very strange. And in a sense, oftentimes price returns to these levels in the future. For example, here, this historical high, later on in this example, is revisited almost to the dot in the future. Same for this series of swing lows. This level of price is revisited in the future again. So for whatever reason, these landmarks seem to have magnetic properties and other properties, as we will see. The idea is that since all charts have these landmarks, and should we be able to spot them? Sometimes they're quite hidden, but should we be able to find out where they are, we can actually estimate how price will react to them. And based on that estimation, we can then formulate trade ideas and ideally profit in the process. Now, so sometimes these landmarks are referred to as support and resistance levels. You probably have heard of them. Most traders probably have, or SNR levels, or even support and resistance zones. Because typically it's not just a line in the sand, it's more like an area of price which has these properties, not just one particular price. Or liquidity zones, another term for a similar concept. And in fact, what I'm going to show you today is actually more related to this concept. So we're going to use throughout this presentation the term liquidity zones. Just keep in mind that it's all, quite similar. All right. So, but the big question is now, so how does price react when it encounters these levels? And I'm going to show you a slide now, which you may not like, but I'm going to show it to you anyways, because this slide is quite, erratic. So some people say, okay, these areas have magnetic properties. They may stop price or prevent price from going through it. But at the same time, they may be broken at some point. And they're two-faced in the sense that, support can become resistance or resistance can become support. But you know what? What does this actually mean? It seems very vague and esoteric. So what does this mean? Well, guys, let's have a look at an example. I promise you, at the end of the next maybe 10 slides, we're going to go through them very quickly, you will have a much better understanding of what these terms mean. So let's have a look at this example. So this is a price chart. I forgot which symbol it is, but as I mentioned before, in the beginning, it doesn't matter because every single chart has these levels. So typically, we have a support zone, which was established in the past, which tends to prevent price from moving further, or price may bounce off from it. And then on top of price, oftentimes we do have resistance zones where our price may not be able, or at least in the past, was not able to go above it. So support and resistance. All right, so far so good. Now, let's have a look where price actually is. So this happened in the past. So this support zone probably was established sometime in the past. Same for this resistance zone. But where is price right now? Well, more or less, if you believe me, price is somewhat in the middle, exactly in the middle of these two zones. And when this happens, and this is based on our experience, and we've witnessed this over and over again, when this happens, price is somehow smack down the middle, in between support and resistance. Typically, these zones will act as magnets and attract price in the near future. So, and as a trader, you could potentially formulate a trade around that, in the anticipation that price will go either to the support level or to the resistance level in the near future. This is our expectation. So let's see what happens. So a couple of bars passes, I believe it was a daily chart. So a couple of days later on, it's the exact same chart. Exactly this happened. Price went down. Yeah, it moved downwards towards this support area. All right, so price is no longer in the middle, in between support and resistance. Instead, it is really close to support now. It really approached this support zone. Now the behavior is going to be a bit different. And guess what's going to happen? What's going to happen here? Well, support, as the name suggests, will act as support and will oftentimes prevent price from moving lower because we have support here. Well, this is exactly the expectation. So support will prevent price from moving lower, and instead price will bounce to the upside. All right, so let's see what happens. So we move fast forward a little bit more, a few bars later, and guess what happened? Price actually did not go any lower, and instead went back into the middle, in between support and resistance again. Doesn't this sound familiar or look familiar? Didn't we have this before? Yes, exactly. Price is back in the middle. All right. So what was our prediction when price is in the middle, in between support and resistance? Well, the prediction was that support and resistance will act as magnets and attract price in the near future. All right. So once again, the expectation is that soon, maybe in a few bars, price will either approach resistance or support. So let's see what happens. Well, same chart, exactly the same thing happened. Price, in this case, now went to the upside. It approached the resistance zone. All right. So now price is near this resistance zone. And guess what's going to happen next? Well, resistance will act as resistance. And guess what's where price is going to go next? Well, it's going to bounce off, most likely, towards the middle in between support and resistance. So because resistance will prevent price from moving higher. So let's fast forward again. All right, so here we had our bounce. This was exactly this area and price. Price once again now moved towards the middle of the zone. Well, looks familiar again. We had this many times before. So price is back in the middle. Support and resistance will act as magnets and attract price in the near future. Price down again. And so forth and so forth. So once again, the expectation is that price will bounce from this support level towards the middle. In this case, we had a big bounce, a huge bounce, a massive move. You can see here, this is a trading view chart. We had an earnings report shortly after this initial bounce here. Price powered through, and now it broke resistance. So for the first time now, we are actually no longer in between support and resistance. We actually broke above resistance. All right. So what do you think the expectation now is? We have broken this level, which held up so many times. Now price really moved quickly above. We do. So we did have this zone break. We call this price broke above resistance. And oftentimes, in this case, the expectation will be that price will continue in the direction of the breakout move, so this bullish move. And resistance will become support. And this is exactly where this term comes from, because this swapping of resistance becoming support or support becoming resistance only happens when these levels are actually broken. This is exactly what happens now. So resistance will become support. All right, cool. So let's see what happens next. So next slide, still the same move. Now resistance acts as support. Price is still above this broken level. And oftentimes, and I see this over and over again, after the initial break, price may retrace back to the broken level, which now will act as support. So price retrace back to the broken level, which is a great opportunity to re-enter in the direction because we had this retracement, or we even get a better entry price. And now the expectation is that since resistance is now acting as support, price will now bounce off to the upside from this former resistance level. All right, so let's see what happens next. Well, exactly that. Price bounce off to the upside. Okay, so we could have taken something off the market here, but of course, hindsight is 2020. We're going to discuss later on how we can actually trade this in real time. And after this initial upwards move, price once again bounced back. Still, resistance will act as support. So once again, our expectation is that price, after this retracement, will bounce off this broken level towards the upside. Yet another great opportunity to get into the market because resistance is acting as support. And then finally, we had, after this bounce here, we had to move significantly higher above this resistance zone, this former resistance zone. In this case, since our price is now so far off, we need to wait until new support and resistance zones are established before we can make any calls. And I believe, hopefully, by going through the setup, you can see that, if things are lining up, if we have setups like this, you as a trader can act on it. And this is exactly what's important in trading. You need to figure out what is currently at play. Do we have a clean setup, a well-defined setup? And once we do, we can formulate trade ideas around that. Now, great. Okay, so let me see if there's any questions. I don't see any questions. Perfect, but don't be shy, guys. If you do have any questions, put them into the Q&A box. All right, and Rex said he met me in Las Vegas in February. Awesome. Okay, hi, Rex. All right, so, okay, next topic. So now I hope you understand a little bit of how we look at the market. You probably can see that it's very much driven by being able to identify these support and resistance levels, which we internally call liquidity zones. Now, but the million-dollar question is now, you saw these two lines, I just drew them here, but how can we actually find out where these lines are? How do we know this? And perhaps more importantly, how can we find symbols which currently have interesting setups? Because there are thousands of symbols out there. And, finding the ones that currently have setups, many of them will not have setups, is very important because these are the ones you want to pay attention to. So how can we do this? Well, this brings us actually to step 2 in our process, finding symbols which currently have clean technical setups. And this requires a combination of scanning and charting. So you want to be able to, find these stocks which have certain setups, and then you want to be open the chart to actually see, is this actually a setup that meets my expectation? Okay, so these two things need to come together. All right, so and for exactly this purpose, in fact, we have developed a tool which we call Liquidity View. A tool designed to do exactly this, to find you symbols which currently have interesting setups via its scanning functionality. Once you click on the symbol, once you open it up in the chart, you can see directly on the price chart where these levels are, where price is in relation to these levels, and what trade ideas and setups may be at play here. And of course, this is supplemented with some additional goodies such as watch lists, alerts, and so forth. Now, without further ado, and I think I talked enough about theory, let's have a look at this tool. So I'm going to open up my browser window. There we go. And I'm going to drag in our tool. So it's called Liquidity View. And you can see here, this is a web-based tool. So it's running on the website. It runs everywhere in every browser. So you can open it up on your laptop, just like me right now, but also on your iPad, on your iPhone, whenever you travel. No installation is needed. And the first thing you see here, let's focus on the right-hand side here. You see a stock of Halliburton. on the daily time frame. All right. And let's have a little look of what we actually see right now to, perhaps understand if you can identify a setup that's currently at play. So let's have a quick look at this. What do we see? Well, first of all, we see that we have our support zone. It's actually also labeled here at this level, around 32, 70 or 80. Now our resistance zone is up here, around 41, 41.50. And where's price in relation to these two zones? Well, it is near the support level. Didn't we just cover a setup like this in the knowing part? What is likely to happen, or what may happen when we have a setup like this? Well, if we follow our patterns, the ones that I showed you a couple of slides ago, the anticipation would be that price would bounce off the support level towards the middle, in between support and resistance. We call this the long bounce setup, because price will bounce towards the long side. And if you, pay attention a little bit to this left-hand side here, where we have Halliburton, the symbol listed, what do we see in this column? The long bounce label. And this is exactly what this dashboard is designed to do. It will find you stocks with interesting setups that you may be interested in. So in this case, a long bounce setup. All right, so this is for Halliburton, but perhaps we maybe want to play something to the short side. Maybe you think the market overall might be moving to the bearish side. Perhaps the sector and this that of a stock may be moving to a bearish side. So let's pick perhaps this stock here, Blink Charging Company, which has a short bounce setup. All right, let's click on it. It will open up on the price chart. And what do we see? Well, we see that price is now nearish this resistance zone. So it went once before towards this resistance zone, bounced off, and now once again it seems to approach once again this resistance zone. So this is a setup which is about to begin. We'll see if price actually goes up all the way here, which would be yet another great entry opportunity to the short side. But if not, perhaps we just stay on the sideline. So you get also these early warnings, which can be important as well as a trader, to be alerted early on. Hey, a setup might be coming up, and perhaps let me keep an eye on this symbol for the next couple of days. And talking about, keeping track of symbols of interest, one key feature of this dashboard is the ability to create watch lists. So just create a watch list just for this webinar, just before this talk, which I call TechTalk 2024. But you can easily create brand new watch lists. Simply click here and give it a name. Maybe my top 10 or whatever, stocks that you currently find interesting. You create it, new watch list is created. It's empty at first, and you can easily add stocks to that list. I'm going to show you this in a second. All right. Another example. Let's go to one of my favorite setups, which is the long break setup. Colgate. It says it's a long break. So let's see what happened. All right. So here, once again, this chart opens up, and we can see that we did have, in fact, a break above resistance, like maybe a month ago at this point. This is a daily chart. And this was, when was it? On April 30th. Yeah, about a month ago. So we had this break above resistance, a nice follow through. And then what happened? We had a retracement towards the broken resistance level. And now this level is acting as support, because once it's broken, resistance will act as support. Price retraced and bounced off once again beautifully from this level. Now move towards the upside. All right, perfect. So let's go to another stock. Which one did I find out? I can't see it. All right, so let me show you quickly how. I'm going to quickly also see if there's any questions. Let me quickly show you how easy it is to add a stock to your watch list. So for this, I'm going to actually go away from my watch list to the entire scanner. So I click on this button here, and once you do this, you see all the stocks available in this tool. And currently, it tracks around 5,000 different symbols. It's mostly stocks and ETFs, but we also track FX, some FX symbols, some futures on an end-of-day basis, indices, and some crypto symbols as well. So all these asset classes are available in this dashboard. But you can see there's more than 5,000 symbols out there. So let me show you how easy it is to find a setup of interest. All right, so let's do some filtering. So let's say we are interested in any stock which has a price above perhaps $25. So what I do now, I click on this little filter here, you can see it, and I say, okay, I want to see all the stocks above $25. Once I click on it, like in Excel, if you're familiar with Excel, you can see that now my list is filtered down from 5,000 symbols to only 2,200. Okay, perfect. We already did some progress there. Next, let's also perhaps only look at stocks which are currently optionable. Actually, let me quickly see. I think I forgot to enable this column. There we go. All right. As you can see here, this was one a little glitch. No glitch, I should say. It's a different version I opened. These columns, which you actually see in the scanner, they can be enabled and disabled. So there's one column called optionable, which I find important because if you are interested in playing and trading options, you want to only perhaps see the stocks which currently have an options chain and which are liquid. Okay, so let me go back to my price. All stocks with price above 25. So we're down to 2,207 stocks. But let's also focus on stocks which are actually optionable. So I enable this filter. So now we're down to 500 stocks. You can see it down here. All right. And perhaps I also want to see stocks which have volume perhaps above 10 million in recent days. Now we're down to 59 stocks. Okay, cool. And perhaps stocks which currently do have a long break retrace setup. Oh, none of them. Perhaps I was a bit too restrictive. Let me take the volume filter out. Perfect. Okay, so you can see now here that these are the stocks, once I took the volume filter out, that currently have a long break retrace setup. If you follow me for a while, this is one of my favorite setups to trade. So let's pick this one here, car. All right, let's open it up and actually see if this is the case. Look at this. We got our zone break here, price retraced down to this broken resistance, so much now active support, and which would have been a great opportunity to enter into this trade to the upside. I do believe there's still probably some opportunities, even though we had a bit of a bullish candle, which drove price away, but maybe we see a bit of another pullback here, which could be an interesting idea to go long this stock. And you know what? Since this seems to be an interesting stock, let's keep an eye on it. So I'm going to add it to my watch list. And this is very simple. All you need to do is you do a right click on the symbol, add, and select the watch list. Maybe it's part of my top 10 watch list. Once there, it's added. And when I go back to this watch list now, I can now see that this stock has been added to the list. All right, good. But let me go back. I want to show you something else. All right, so back to my little list that I prepared for this talk. And let's talk about, in fact, let's talk about some of the additional things that you can see on the chart. So let me open up this one here, GCI Johnson Controls International. Now, once again, here also we have a very beautiful long break retrace setup. But, just having this technical setup, it's great to have, but I certainly believe that there's additional things that we could look out for to make this an even more powerful setup. And one such thing is to understand where is my short-term, medium, and long-term trend pointing to. So look at this indicator down here. We call this the trend radar indicator. And this indicator shows you by means of this heat map here, what is my long-term trend doing, which is the lowest row? What is my medium-term trend doing, which are the middle rows? And what is my short-term trend doing? And we can see here that clearly since, if I move this up a little bit, since February, also this year, this stock has been bullish long-term. A couple of pullbacks in between, which can also be by themselves great opportunities for entry into a trend trade. And now we just had another little pullback here, just to this former resistance zone, which will now act as support. So I like this trade because, it has multiple levels of confirmation. We have this support area. It is a very bullish stock. And there's one more thing, which I typically refer to. This is one more indicator, which I like, which is called the MA rush indicator. So let me enable this. And once enabled, you can see that, maybe I turn off the Liquidity View indicator. You can see that this indicator prints out these labels on the chart, which are indications to you what is my momentum currently pointing to. Is it rather bearish or perhaps bullish? And for this symbol, for CAR, we saw that in the beginning of April, momentum shifted from bearish to bullish. So then we have three things coming together. We had the zone break, a nice retrace, great support zone with a very bullish long-term and medium-term trend, and our momentum is bullish. So check, check, check. And to me, an interesting stock to potentially trade. How we can trade it, we're going to see in a second. I'm going to get to this last part in just a bit. All right. So let me go back to the scanner. I want to show you one more thing. So look at these. I'm actually going to go to the entire scan list. Look at this last column here. It's called the R score, an indication of either how bullish or how bearish a stock is. So the higher the number, the more bullish it is. So 393, Alcoa, is a bullish stock. You can see it here. It's a high number. Minus 300, it's a very bearish stock. You can see it here. So you can filter very easily, or find out very easily which stocks are currently very bullish or very bearish by simply sorting by this column. So once I do this, and let's only focus perhaps on the optional stocks, I can see that this stock here, whatever this is, Teladoc Health, is very bearish. Look at this stock. It's been in a downfall and a free fall for a while. And you can find out these hugely trending stocks very easily by simply filtering sorting by this last column here. Same for the upside. If I go to very bullish stocks, I simply sort in the opposite direction. Look on the first one here. Wow. Raytheon, very bullish in recent terms. You can see it here, a beautiful explosive move up to the upside. So another way to find out perhaps to find a stock which is currently of your interest. Same for momentum. We can also filter by, okay, which of our stocks currently does have bullish momentum or perhaps bearish momentum, simply by using this filter as well. All right, and two more things, guys. This entire table can be saved to Excel if you want to use it for further manual analysis or perhaps share it with someone. This is possible. And a feature which I really like is trade alerts. You can be alerted once you opt into this alert service to receive an email alert at the end of every trading day with everything that has changed in the market. So a bit of a summary of things that recently have changed. Perhaps the stock going from bullish to bearish and stuff like this. All right, perfect. Now, let me go back to my slides. And Nicholas, perhaps, are there any questions at this point before I head back to my slides? Yes, perfect.
Yeah, okay. We got a few good ones. So one from Robert here. He wants to know, what about the liquidity of the option, not the underlying? So what does that stuff about the option tell us there, optionable?
Yeah, perfect. So Robert, actually, this came, I believe I mentioned at the very beginning of this talk that we do listen to our customers, and actually we develop our products based on the feedback from our customers. And one client told us, hey, Daniel, I'm good at finding setups, but typically these setups are for stocks which actually cannot be really traded with options. And he was an options trader. So he would naturally be only interested in stocks which not only have an options chain, that's one thing, but there also needs to be liquidity. And this column here, the logic for this column not only checks if there's an options chain, but also checks if how many expirations are available, how many different strike prices are available, and so forth, to make sure that actually this can be traded reasonably with options. And once checked, I believe, and it's the feedback we have received, all these stocks with the check mark of optionable are actually quite nicely tradable with options. I also know that options trading can become quite expensive because you always have to buy 100 shares of the underlying if the underlying price is too high. So we have another filter built in, which allows you to filter by symbols below a certain price, because that might be a criteria for options traders as well, to have a stock which is relatively cheap to buy. That's possible as well.
Perfect. Thanks, Daniel. We have another one here from Jagdish Patel. He wants to know, how do we trade these ideas from the dashboard during lower time frames, like if they're a day trader?
Yeah, so this dashboard is primarily geared towards swing traders and options traders. So if you have this longer term vision in mind, if you simply want to get in today and exit at noon, this dashboard would not be for you. But Patel, what you can do is you can reach out to us and ask for the trading view or a Ninja Trader or whatever you use version of these indicators, which then will allow you to trade these on a day trading point of view.
Perfect. And we have another question here from David. So he says, Daniel, you mentioned to wait for zones to be drawn as support or resistance, or to be redrawn. But how often do the zones get redrawn, and what is the trigger for them to
oh, that's awesome.
to be drawn?
Yeah, actually, so first of all, whatever you see here on the chart will stay there forever. Nothing here is redrawn. So this this level here, well, let me just go to which stock did I have at the beginning? Halliburton. Let's go here. There we go. So let me open this up. So yeah, this great support zone where price seems to bounce off from, or bounced off here, we knew about this zone all the way back here. It's not being redrawn as we see price unfold in the future. That would be cheating. These levels, or this resistance zone up here, we knew about that one all the way back here. So these are never redrawn. But of course, as new price action unfolds, as new swing lows or swing highs are made and new things are happening, we may see additional levels. So for example, this level here, this resistance zone, just started a couple of bars ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, because new price action came in, which then triggered the algorithm or the indicator to start drawing a new resistance level.
Perfect. Okay, that's all the questions for now, Daniel.
Perfect. All right. Okay, perfect. So let me go back to my slides, because there are a couple of things which I still want to share with you. Because we have still one important topic that we need to cover. Just to find my slides real quick. Okay, there we go. Okay. All right. So, okay. So a quick summary, real quick. So what you saw on this dashboard is a whole bunch of things. And first of all, there are 3 flagship indicators of us built into this dashboard. One is called Liquidity IQ, which performs this instant technical analysis of the important levels on the chart. Also annotates your chart with liquidity breaks, zone breaks, liquidity captures, and other advanced concepts. You also saw MA Rush, our momentum indicator, which shows you which stocks are currently bullish or bearish in terms of momentum and when a momentum shift happens. And then we had Trend Radar, the indicator below the price chart, which shows you what the short, medium, and long-term trend is doing. But all this is supplemented with hundreds of built-in indicators and drawing tools which come with the charting platform itself. So you get all this as well. The scanner scans lightning fast. You saw this through thousands of 5,000 plus symbols. You can filter by all kinds of things, whether a stock is optionable, whether it has high volume or a price below or above a certain price. You can create watch lists, you can export things, and so forth. And you can also define your alerts. So you can receive daily trade alerts, you can switch between different themes, a dark and light theme, you can save your annotations, which will be kept for the next session, and so forth. And of course, you can create watch lists. So you've seen all this. And this is a great tool, a research tool, to find symbols which currently have setups. But the last question is, how do we actually trade these setups? So we know what drives the market. We know which levels may be important, which may not be important. We know how to find symbols of setups, but now how do we trade them? And I'm telling you, this is an entirely different skill set by itself, because there's so many ways to plan out your trade. with advantages, disadvantages, different consequences in terms of risk, and so forth. So just to give you some examples. So each setup pretty much can be traded in various ways. You can trade aggressively or conservatively. So aggressively meaning, oh, maybe I jump in right away, so I don't want to miss out. Conservatively may mean, oh, kind of wait for extra confirmation before I enter. You can trade from a short-term perspective or a long-term perspective. You can trade it by buying the underlying outright, like buying 100 shares of IBM, or perhaps do an options play around that. So many different questions that need to be answered. And there are pros and cons for all of these. Quick example. We saw this one here, Johnson Control International. We just had this on the chart, which currently has a nice zone break retrace to the zone. Now, you can have the trade idea, okay, perhaps if I want to take advantage of this retrace and my anticipation is that price will move or is likely to move towards the upside, I could make this trade by simply trading the underlying. I can buy perhaps 100 shares of JCI directly outright, put my stop loss perhaps a bit below this resistance area, which now acts as support, and my profit target maybe all the way up here. That's one way to do it. All right, and probably if you're a stock trader, it's a trade that probably you've done many times. But you could also trade this potentially with an options play. Well, there's advantages to this too, perhaps the bull debit spread, which comes with a whole different set of things to consider. So questions for questions. And this is why I have brought somebody with me today, who is actually an expert in all this. And he's been out there trading and contemplating different trading methods for other clients, for himself, for institutions, and so forth. And he knows, I'm going to introduce him to you in a second, he knows all about when it makes sense to potentially do an options play, what should be the play that might be reasonable in this case, what are the risks involved, what are potential gains, and so forth. And he can tell you how this is done correctly. So let me, guys, introduce to you, and Jim, sorry you had to wait so long. Let me introduce to you the options professor. Perhaps you've seen him on, perhaps on a webinar or on the internet. He's been out there for a long time. So guys, let me introduce to you Jim Kenny, aka the options professor. Jim, are you there? So I did this whole speech about Jim. Now he's Jim, can you hear me? I think you're muted. Is that possible?
No, you have to unmute yourself if you're going to hear me, right?
Yes. All right. Hey, Jim, what's up?
Oh, everything's great. I'm very much enjoyed hearing your presentation because it sounds to me like you're really looking to try to make finding the setups as accurate and as simplified as possible, which I think is just great. And identifying the bullish and then the bearish. And if you can establish that with some accuracy, then if you could bring in the option strategies, you could really combine it to a pretty powerful cocktail.
Yeah, I agree. So to be honest, Jim, I most of the trading that we have done in the past, it did not involve options. Mm-hmm. And but I do understand that we got so much interest from options traders, and this is why I thought, why not bring Jim on board? And Jim, perhaps say a few words about what have you done in the past in terms of options, and what could you bring to the table?
Well, when you're talking to me, you're talking to somebody who's dedicated pretty much most of their life to options. So this is not a hobby. I didn't used to be a plumber, and now I do this. You know what I mean? This has been my thing. And I've been trained in it, and I've had tremendously large amounts of experience trading thousands and thousands of options contracts. So obviously through all that experience, you come up with things that work, things that don't work, things to avoid that are going to get you in trouble, things that when you get into a trade, how do you come out of it? I mean, I talk to many people, they know how to buy something, but they have no idea how to come out. And there's different ways of coming out that either keeps you in the market or, cuts your risk off or whatever. And when things aren't going your way, you don't have to just sit there like Buddha and watch your money go all the way down to zero. You can adjust the position and things like that. And from the sell side, there's some really numerically high probability transactions if you know how to get them by writing the options in a certain way. Likewise, I'm fortunate and blessed to be a high net worth investor, but I do have a certain amount of money that I like to try to turn into a smaller amount, small amounts into big amounts. And so I'm just going to give you a couple of examples. The idea is to try to find something where the premiums are low and they're going to expand dramatically. And last week, I looked at the energy market and I looked at the metals market and I saw them turning down, and I saw put options were dirt cheap on things like Newmont Mining, Freeport-McMoRan, Devon Energy, Halliburton, Schlumberger, Occidental. So I took some positions this week, and by Monday or Tuesday, those options had jumped dramatically because, as you know, early in the week, oil got slammed. And then this week developed, and I kept looking around. Obviously, I took my gains out of there during the drop because when they go up like that, you take money. But then I saw Palantir, which is a great company that went down to $21 a share. They've got partnerships with Amazon and Microsoft. I mean, these guys are in bed with the right people. And at 21 bucks, it used to be, I think, 28 or 30. I could see it was a good time to take a shot. And 21 puts that expire tomorrow. They went down to 50 cents, and 10 of them were 500 bucks. 100 of them were only $5,000, and they closed today at about $300 a piece. So that means like 500 bucks turning into like $3,000. Not bad. So these
Not
are the
bad.
things. And so the combination of your trading indicators, locating the setups, and then having the right strategy you can use, either buying or selling the options, I think it'd be very, very value added to the customer.
Yeah, perfect. And guys, this is not rehearsed, but I just want to putting myself on the line here. I'm going to open up Palantir on the dashboard just to see how it looks like.
See what I saw. Yeah.
See if you have something similar. This one here, right?
Yep.
PLTR. All right. So yeah, look what. So I guess you were so exactly what we saw here.
And my indicators and yours seem to conclude that right around 21 bucks was a very important support zone.
Yep.
That's exactly. At 21 bucks and 50 cents an option, sign me up.
Yeah. And guys, this is called the long bounce trade. Price retraced down to the support zone. And as you saw in the beginning, when this happens, it is not unlikely that price will bounce off this zone to the upside, especially when confirmed with a long-term bullish reading by our trend radar indicator. You can see the long-term trend is green. And if we look at MA Rush, let me see when it turned bullish. Yeah, it was bullish since January. Yeah, January. So we had bullish momentum, bullish long-term uptrend, price retrace the support, all check marks coming together for a potential long play of the symbol. And and so I would have typically done this by doing the outright. Jim did it with the options play. And we don't have to go into the details right now, but Jim, would you confirm with me that there are so many things that need to be considered when converting this into an options play?
Well, it's really all about what your objective is. The strategy I was using was I was trying to take a small amount of money and turn it into a large amount. Other strategies might be selling the put underneath the market because you're willing to buy this great company on a dip, but you take the premium you receive and you buy a call above. So now if it takes off on you, you're not waiting for a drop in the stock, you have a call, but it was paid for by selling the put. And that gives you a situation where if it drops, you're going to buy the stock at a discount because they'll put it to you at the lower price. I'm assuming it's an out of the money put. And then if it takes off, rather than watching the bus leave and you're running down the highway after it, you've got a call that protected you against the upside risk. So that's why at these meetings that we are hopefully going to have with the investors, I'm going to be able to really help these people get educated here, because I've been educating people on options for decades. So whether you're a beginner, you're an advanced guy, I'm going to be able to talk to you so you come away smarter, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and that's exactly the reason why we decided to put on an options masterclass. It will be hosted by us at Trading Indicators but it will be led by Jim, the options professor. And it's going to be a 3-session series, all taught live. So you'll be in very, very intimate settings, which will be very interactive. You can ask questions and pick Jim's brain. And these will be held not next week, but the week after, starting on June 18, the first session at 6 p.m. Eastern. Then at June 20th, 2 days later, also at 6 p.m. Then we're going to wrap it up on Saturday, 2 days later at 10 a.m. Eastern. And these sessions, of course, will be all recorded. You can rewatch them. If you miss one, no big deal. You can get them afterwards. And these are all really done by things that Jim has done in the past based on his decades of experience. And things that have worked for him. And he's willing to impart this knowledge with you guys. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I get a very big kick out of educating people, because I don't know anybody who shouldn't get a big kick out of that. I mean, if you could turn the light on in a dark room for somebody so they can see, I mean, that's got to be a good feeling. So that's why I love doing this. The other thing is that I know, because I'm watching the same stuff you guys are on the internet and on the YouTube. I mean, some of this stuff is either misleading or downright incorrect. And some people, run after some of these promoter guys with the options, because it's such a big proliferation of that, that I feel bad for them, because, again, they end up running after these people and it doesn't work out for them, or, so I feel like, shining a light on how these things really work, putting them in a very understandable package, and also giving them a transparent and truthful disclosure on this thing, rather than just getting people excited and crazy. I think I feel better doing it that way.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one thing I really liked what you said when I asked you about, hey, how would you do this play if you had a bullish outlook on that stock? You said, hey, it depends on what you have in mind. And I think this is the question that everybody of you needs to ask yourself. Do you want to potentially try to convert a small account into a big account? You can do this with a different mix of option strategies. If you're interested in buying a stock anyways, you can do it as well with options. If you're interested in protecting a position that you already have, that's possible too. So there's so many different ways how you can leverage the power of options. And Jim is really the guy who will discuss all these different things in this masterclass.
And then they can also bring their own situations, because when I do online sessions with people, I always tell them to, what are you interested in? What markets are you following? Let's see if we can do things to make you more successful on what your interests are. And then, of course, I always share my ideas as well. But it's very important that the person you're speaking to is being helped on the things that they have interest in and that they're already doing. Because the idea is to enhance and improve the investor. And you can do that best if you can target what they're doing now.
Yeah. And Jim, real quick, a funny comment from one of our users. He actually met you in near Ottawa Airport at some point.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I used to do seminars up in Canada, and lovely people up there. It's just that the travel gets to you now. So everything I do now is like you guys on the computer.
That's awesome. Cool. All right, guys. So thanks, Jim, so much. And this is going to be very exciting in 2 weeks from now, having these options masterclass. Now, I would like to share with you now how you can get, first of all, hold of this dashboard at a great price, because we have an early bird special, and also how you can enroll into the options masterclass. Now, also at a discount. So all you need to do is to go to tradingindicators.com/early-bird. This will bring you to a product page where, all the features of the dashboard are explained, what you can do with it. And if you're interested, you can take advantage of a 25% discount of the annual subscription. It's available only for a couple of days. Once this early bird special is over, it will go back to the full price. But there's one more thing. If you decide to take advantage of the subscription, you will also get $150 off this 3-day masterclass series on options trading led by Jim. So don't wait too long, because this is going to go up to full price very soon when we start the official promotion for the options class. But I thought, guys, since you're all here, since we, unveiled this dashboard, since you brought on Jim, I'll get you a bit of a break on it as well. So all you need to do is to go to tradingindicators.com/early-bird. And Nicholas, please also put this link into the chat so you can just simply click on it. All right. And yeah, we believe that this dashboard is going to be the next gem, if you want to say so, for all swing traders out there, but also for options traders, because that's all the things built in which you need as an options trader to find interesting setups. And I'm glad, Jim, you said that the setups you saw on the dashboard, they coincided with what you saw on the market as well. This was an extra confirmation. Awesome. All right. So you can scan through all these thousands of symbols to find these high quality setups. Don't miss a trade of the watch list features, the custom filters, the trade alerts, of course. And yeah, so think about it, guys, at tradingindicators.com/early-bird. And this includes, of course, our dashboard with the scanner, the charting, with our liquidity IQ indicator available on that price chart with MA Rush, the momentum indicator, trend radar, and all these additional goodies that you saw. And we're going to throw in one more goodie. So if you sign up for this package deal, the dashboard and the options class, you will also be enrolled to our exclusive members-only trading sessions, which are happening every single Tuesday at 12 p.m. The next one's already scheduled for next Tuesday on June 11th. And in these live market sessions, we answer questions. First of all, we show you tips and tricks. We share with you our outlook on the current market conditions, on the market situation. And it's really a great outlet just to have a bit of a back and forth between us and our community, and to answer all your questions really, and to make sure that you are set up the way you need to be set up to be successful in trading. All right. And one more thing, you will also be invited to our members only Discord channel. So if you're ever in need of an instant answer, because Discord is chat based, you can simply put your question into Discord, and Rick, our moderator, he sleeps almost never. So he will keep an eye on all these questions, and if he can, he will answer those questions day and night. All right. So let me see if there are some questions while I'll keep this up here. Are there any questions, Nicholas?
Yeah, Daniel, we have a question here from John. He wants to, well, before that, Jan says, great presentation. And then the person who met the options professor says it was his wife that remembers him. Now, John Ford says, can you please show a couple of daily futures charts like crude oil and gold on the platform?
All right, so let me go back to the platform. There we go, if I can find it. A second. I'm actually in Germany right now, and I forgot my keyboard in Montreal. We are based out of Montreal. Now I'm using a German keyboard. Now the keys are mixed up. I have a bit of a trouble to putting these up. Okay, so let's have a look at what I'm going to do first. I'm going to clear all the filters. And let's have a look at, forgot what the future symbol was. It was at ES, I believe, in this dashboard. And you can see now here. It's my keyboard. 1 second. Sorry. There we go. I hope this is good. Okay, there we go. Okay, so the mini futures. So you can see here we are currently in a long breakout situation. And actually, it's a tight call. So just by looking at the symbol, we are right at this resistance zone. So I believe we, hit it many times before. Price is kind of trying to power through it. It's been rejected quite a few times, and there's actually a feature which I didn't explain yet, but you may be able to see these little shaded areas here. So these are called liquidity captures. It's an advanced concept built into our indicator. And basically what that means is that a candle, a bar, wicked up into a resistance zone with extraordinarily high volume, but wasn't able to break through it. So to us, and this is of course up to interpretation to anyone, but to us, it tells us, hey, there's something is happening in the market which buys up the bullish orders and driving price down. So something is happening at these levels which prevents price from going higher. So this is oftentimes a sign of a bit of a reversal. So we can see this at the bullish side at the resistance area, but also at the bearish side at times. So the stock, of course, being so bullish. So we had it here, for example, price, wick down a little bit to this area, it reversed, then back up. Whenever you see this, you see a little bit of a retracement oftentimes when these liquidity capture events are happening. So yeah, this is the chart of the E-minis today.
Yeah. Daniel, can we also take a look at crude oil while you're on futures?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Crude, there we go. Oh boy, oil being, again, this is the daily chart. Oil being somewhat in between support and resistance. Our indicator or scanner says we are in a magnet zone, which happens when we are, somewhat in the middle. It's not completely in the middle, but there's always a bit of a wiggle room. And here the anticipation would be that price, either goes towards the support zone or the resistance zone in the near future. But it's going to move. That's the anticipation. Perfect, guys. I don't see any questions furthermore coming in. Should we have forgotten a question, guys? Don't worry about this. You can always reach out to us via our homepage at tradingindicators.com. There's a contact field in the main menu. Simply click on it. It will bring you to a contact form. Simply put your question there, and it will go directly to my inbox or Homer's inbox or Nicholas' inbox. And we make sure to get back to all your questions as soon as we can. All right, so with that being said, I hope you did indeed gain something from this session. And I hope you agree with me that these 3 steps of trading, to know what a good setup is, to be able to find these setups, and to plan out your trade to fit your needs, are super important. They require different skill sets, but with the right guidance, I believe that all of us can, master these and then become better traders along the way. All right. So with that, I thank Jim. Thanks, Jim, for saying hello, for stopping by.
And thanks for having me, Daniel.
That's awesome. Thanks, Nicholas. Thanks, Homer, for being here. And thanks, everyone out there, for staying with me for this 1-hour session. I hope you liked it, and I hope to see you guys soon. Bye-bye. It's been fun.